Hi. In this short video, I want to show you my top 5 favorite yoga relaxation poses. This might be a little odd that I'm going to show you how to do poses to, I guess, do nothing in, but yoga isn't just about getting sweaty. It's not all about building strength. Those are great parts of it if you want to do that, but also yoga is just about sitting and being with yourself. And if that's something that you don't want to do right now, that's totally fine. If you don't meditate, that's also totally fine. You don't need to meditate. But I think sometimes these poses can be really nice, just to sort of take the speed out of life, I guess. So let's start. And number 1 is just easy cross-legged. Nothing strenuous. It's not half lotus or anything. So how we sit is that way, obviously cross-legged, so you can either have one leg on the floor and then place the other foot or calf on top of that leg, or you could also have them in front of each other like this. What you could also do is, if you have a block, you could use that block and place that under your seat. Just sit a little higher, or roll up a blanket, or use a cushion, and just sit like that, because that sort of makes it easier. It can make it easier to stack your shoulders on top of your hips. It might be easier for you to sit up straighter. Also, if you've got quite tight hips, just sitting a little higher can make it a lot more comfortable. It could also be more comfortable on your knees. Obviously, if sitting cross-legged is really uncomfortable for you, then you don't have to do this at all. And as we sit cross-legged, obviously you can stay on your block if you want to. Try and stack your shoulders on top of your hips. Sit with a nice straight back. Trying to lean forward too much, to lean back onto your shoulders. Just try and sit really central. Rolling our shoulders up, back and down. You can have your hands either in your seat or on your knees. And I would say have the palms face up. Because you might, if you want, you could test the difference of having your palms face down on your knees or the back of your hands on your knees. And I find that just by that small action of turning your hands over, having the back of your hands on your knees, palms facing the ceiling, that opens your body a little bit more. It almost opens you in the chest. That little rotation that happens in the arms, in the elbows, that opens your chest up. Makes it a bit more comfortable, nicer to breathe. And when you sit here, I often start my classes here, you can just close your eyes and take a few breaths. So I think this is just a lovely pose, just quite active, but still really restful. And something I can theoretically do every morning before you sort of head out, do whatever you need to do. Just sit here, take a couple of breaths like that, just to sort of get ready for the day. Okay, number 2, we're getting into child's pose. For child's pose, we are first getting into tabletop. You can have your knees for child's pose. You can kneel here. You can have your knees together or slightly apart. Just not too much. Just separating them by maybe hand width. Just by that, opening the hips a little bit. You can also experiment with going quite wide. I think going just a little wider just makes it really comfortable on our hips again. And it also makes it, I think you're just able to sink in more in the space that you've created between your legs. If you're finding this really comfortable on your knees and you can't really sit back so well, you could use a cushion, place that between your legs, or roll up a blanket again, place that between your legs, between your calves and your thighs, and that might make it more comfortable again. You can use as many props as you want any time in yoga, but especially in those relaxation poses where you want to be comfortable for quite a while. Okay, and from here, I'm going to reach forward and come down. And depending on how your back feels, your shoulders feel, you could also take a block here, place that under your forehead and just rest your head on the block. If you can't, like bringing your forehead on the ground, like straining your neck or your back or whatever, then that's a really nice option. Just lying here, arms reached out in front of you. You could also bring your arms alongside your body, but I personally prefer arms reached out because not your entire weight is on your head as the rest here, but it's also in the arms, not the entire weight of your head and your shoulders and everything is resting on your nose. Now I'd say bring your forehead and or nose to the ground or on your block, rather than having one cheek to the ground. Closing the eyes here if you want as well. And as you breathe in child's pose, feel your abdomen with the inhale pushes against your thighs. Your back lifts, your shoulders lift, you round a bit. And on the exhale, feeling your belly button move towards the spine. The chest might sink a little deeper to the ground. The shoulders might sink a little deeper. Feeling the body feedback as you inhale, the abdomen pressing more against your thighs, and exhale, moving down. One more breath. And now we're going to come out of child's pose. We're going to pull our hands under our shoulders. We're going to push into our hands gently and come to kneeling. Child's pose is a lovely pose to do whenever you're moving through a yoga class and you might feel you need a bit of a break. Child's pose is perfect for that. Okay, let's go for the next pose, number 3. And actually, let's go to our belly from here because we're already on our knees. We're going to lie on our stomach, come to the ground in a safe way. I'm going to place our hands on top of each other. Our forearms are now parallel to the short edge, the front edge of the mat. Making a pillow out of our hands, and our feet are pointing back. You might drop your heels out to the side. Feet can be however far apart you want them. Probably not too far apart. Definitely not wider than mat width, I would say, or at least for my body. And just rest your head on your hands. Place the forehead again on the hands. You want to bring your cheek down. Just push your hands out in front of you a little more to make room for your head. And lie here. If you're lying on one of your cheeks, then be sure to turn around, lie on the other side as well for the same amount of time so that your neck is being stretched equally. And I think this is also a lovely pose because as you inhale and exhale, you feel your abdomen press against the ground and then create a bit more space. It's also that when we lie on our backs, which we will do in a moment, we expose sort of the soft part of our body, our abdomen, our chest, our heart, to to the elements, and hopefully we'll all be safe where we are practicing yoga. But I guess maybe somehow evolutionary, you might feel a little bit more exposed. If you think about, let's say, a cat or a dog, when they let you stroke their tummies, that's obviously quite a big sign that they trust you, because that's a very sensitive, vulnerable part of them. So sometimes lying on our abdomen with the back to the room, to the world, can be more relaxing. But yeah, have a think about that. One more breath here. Okay. And now to come out, we're going to pull our hands under our shoulders here as well. Push into our hands. Come into a brief child's pose from here. Pulling the hands under our shoulders here and pushing into kneeling. We want to be sure that we come out of those relaxation poses in a really safe way. And now we're going to lie on our backs for number 4 of these relaxation poses, my favorite relaxation poses. So we're going to come down gently. So bend your knees, feet to the ground, hands behind you, and gently lowering one elbow at a time and then lying down. And we're already here in this active, relatively active relaxation. Our feet are on the ground, knees are bent, feet and knees are hip width apart. And you could place one hand on your lower abdomen and the other hand on your chest or just below your chest to feel, again, get that body feedback, that biofeedback on your breath. This is also a really lovely pose. We sometimes start our classes in this pose as well. It's a more active relaxation with the knees bent. And it is quite nice to have that contact, having your hands on our body. Close the eyes here as well. And as you plant your feet on the ground, why not lift your toes off the ground, spreading them wide and then lowering them one at a time. You can lift the heels again. We do that a lot in Konasana. But just even as we are relaxing, we're still engaging our body maybe a little bit. And by doing that to our feet, we're really nicely grounded. We've got that grounded feeling in the feet. Maybe lifting the shoulders off the ground, placing them down, spreading the shoulders wide. Chin is slightly tucked, so we've got a nice flat neck. Our shoulders are away from the ears. We're just breathing in our normal rhythm. So I really love this pose. A bit more active in the relaxation. And now we're coming to number 5. After that, we're just going to bring the soles of our feet together and drop our knees either side. We're making a diamond shape with our legs. I'll show you from this way so you may be able to see a little bit better. So lying like that, feet together, soles of the feet together, and knees falling out. This is Reclining Cobbler pose, and this is again a more active relaxation with hips being opened as we're lying here. This is particularly nice after a yoga session where you did a lot of hip opening, because your hips will be warmer, and you might find that by doing this you sort of get a little bit more benefit rather than lying, for instance, in Sukhasana or the pose that we just did. So this is really, really lovely, I think. And again, let's maybe lift our shoulders off the ground, place them down. Shoulders are away from the ears. Chin is slightly tucked, so we've got that nice flat neck. And if you want, you could have your arms beside you. You could have your hands on your hip bones or on your abdomen and chest. Whatever feels good. Breathing here. Steady breath in and out through the nose. Okay, and to come out of any poses that are on the ground, also Shavasana, for which we would stretch our legs out, have our arms beside our body. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring our knees into our chest. We're going to drop our knees to either side. I generally say to the right, but you can drop them to the left as well. So you're dropping your knees to the side. You're rolling over onto your side, placing your head on the bottom arm as a bit of pillow, and then bringing the other hand in front of your chest and pressing up to gently, gently come up here. So this is a really good way to come out of this pose safely, slowly, especially if you were in a relaxation for a little while, just so that you're not like rushing or not like rolling up and down and hurting yourself. Okay, so this is a little different, just a couple of relaxation poses if you're ever interested. They're lovely. Yoga is not just about the poses that we do, it's not just about the physical practice. It can also be just taking a break when you need a break, and for that, these relaxation poses are really nice. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon.